Alright, focus, focus.
Everybody focus.
Today, we are going to locate our community. So we looked at that map of the United States, and we're going to really zoom in on our community. So let me get the middle edges off and ready to roll. We are going to read the introduction to this lesson in our student text. And I'm curious, who thinks they know what we're going to learn in this lesson? What might we learn about in the introduction if that section is called Locating Our Community? Keegan.
So it might be about like all the things that are in the United States.
So if we're talking about our community, maybe we'll talk about all the things in the United States? What about just this specific section? What part of the United States do you think we might talk about this time? Braylon. And we're going to talk about Nebraska. We're right smack dab in the middle, right? The closest landmark to us would be what? What is the closest landmark you guys see on this map? To Nebraska right there in the middle? What landmarks are really close to us? We can list two of them. Brielle?
Mount Rushmore and the Rocky Mountains.
Mount Rushmore and the Rockies, right? Those are both really popular vacation spots for us because they're two landmarks that are really close to us, even though we're landlocked in the middle of nowhere here. Say that again?
I have something about Rocky Mountains.
Go for it.
So when me and Mom were driving out of Colorado, all I saw was past the mountain just straight.
Yes, so when we're driving, this state is Colorado right here. And so like half of Colorado is full of the Rocky Mountains. So when we are driving we're starting right there, way in the corner. And when we drive to Colorado, you're totally right. You just see a skyline of mountains. It's kind of cool because we're not used to that here, huh?
When you're going to Missouri, you probably see.
It does. Focus, focus. I want to hear from 5 friends. What are the 5 top places you would like to visit? Who wants to tell me if you could go to any of these landmarks, where would you like to go?
Does it have to be in
Who can tell me? I'm going to hear from 5. 5 says it all. Macy.
Disneyland?
Oh, Macy wants to go to Disneyland in Southern California. All right. Savannah.
Hershey and Disneyland.
Oh, Savannah wants to go to Hershey. Check out that chocolate factory in Pennsylvania. Eli. Or if it's somewhere it's not on this map, you guys could say that too.
Yes.
Ooh, in Florida, the Everglades, like the swamplands with gators and all that jazz. Very cool. Rylan. Disneyland. She wants to go to Southern California also. And Emerson.
I would like to probably go to the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, Statue of Liberty. He's heading over to New York City. Very cool.
That's where I went to.
Let's go ahead and read our introduction. You guys already told me that we are located in Nebraska. So I'm going to read our introduction out loud to you. Okay? See if I can get this shifted so you can see my book instead. And we're in chapter 2, so where could I figure out in my social studies book where chapter 2 starts? What text feature am I going to use to figure out where chapter 2 starts? Miss Braylon. Very good. My table of contents says chapter 2 is on page 17. So, here we go. Page 17. Where in this United States is our community? Focus, focus. Here's my introduction. Your community is the place where you live. What is the name of the town or the city where you live? What is the name of the town or city that our school is in? Ellie. Waverly. Does anybody live somewhere other than Waverly? Where do you live, Riley? Lincoln. How about you, River? You live in Waverly. Anybody live anywhere else other than Waverly? Eli? Greenwood? That would be your street. Your street. Pavin? So Crosstown is still in Waverly though, right? Maybe just in the country. A little outside of town. Ah, yeah. Ceresco. Nice. We use maps when we travel from one place to another. So maps show us the directions. North, south, east, and west are the... North, south, east, and west are the... find your community on a map of the United States. We will use those cardinal directions to direct us to other locations. And you're gonna read about famous places and find them on a map. So, this is kind of awesome. If you're a person who wants to plan some family vacations, or you're a person who is interested in traveling,
I see.
this unit is going to be awesome for figuring out how far are we from some of these awesome landmarks. And what directions do you need to go to get there. And that's what we're going to learn how to do. Capiche? All right.
I see.
Section 1.
Section 1.
The 50 states. So we live in the United States. How many states do we have in our country?
50.
50 states. So when you write your address, we practiced this a little bit. First, you write the name of your street. Actually, first you write your house number, right? So somebody told me that they live on Fletcher. That's going to be your street. I live on South 11th Street. Our school is on Haywood Street, right? That's a way that we identify where we live. Then you write the name of your community. So I live on 11th Street in Council Bluffs. That's my community. What community is our school in? Haywood Street in Waverly, Nebraska, right? So that place, that last little bit after Waverly, that's our state. That NE stands for Nebraska, and it tells people exactly where we live. There are 50 of those states in the United States. Each state has lots of communities. There's like big cities. Who can tell me some of the biggest cities in Nebraska? Top 2.
Omaha.
Omaha, and everybody? Lincoln is our capital. So Omaha's actually bigger, but Lincoln is our capital. Those are our 2 biggest, but there's tons of itty bitty communities in between. Waverly is a smaller community, but there are communities that are way smaller than Waverly even. So we are going to look at this map and identify a little bit more. Let me get zoomed so you can see it better. Where in Nebraska we live. Does anybody think they could tell me what part of our state, using those cardinal directions and your intermediate directions, do we live in the northern, southern, eastern, western, northeast, southeast, southwest? What part of our state do we live in? Keegan?
Southeast.
We live in the southeast corner. In fact, if we were to put a dot on the map where we live, you can almost look right where Iowa and Missouri touch and come like right there. Pretty much right there. And that's, if you mark Lincoln on a map, when we're zoomed out this far, Lincoln and Waverly look almost like exactly the same on a map until you zoom in closer. And then you start being able to see where those tiny towns are outside of those bigger towns. So that's where we're located in the United States. Pretty much smack dab in the middle, right? We're about as far away from the ocean in any direction as we can possibly get. But, like we mentioned before, we're close to, what was in South Dakota? Mount Rushmore. We're close to the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. And there's some other things. Has anybody else gone to some really cool family vacations that you think, not a really far drive, but something that was a pretty quick trip? Where else have you gone that was a quick trip? River. Iowa, maybe you've gone to Iowa. What'd you do there? Oh, so maybe you've got pets in Iowa. Sure. Jade. So Yellowstone, it's a bit of a drive, yeah. Chicago is not terrible. Chicago is in Illinois, so you just hopped 2 states over. Nice. That's one of my favorite vacation spots. Emerson.
I've been down to Kansas,
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, because for the Arrowhead.
Oh, the Arrowhead Stadium. I got some
a
Chiefs
tour of
fans,
the-
right?
I got a tour of the whole Arrowhead Stadium.
How many of you have been to Branson, Missouri? That's a really popular place to go. Branson. Maybe you've gone and seen some shows. Maybe, how many of you have been to like Table Rock Lake? That's in Missouri. How many of you have been to World of Fun? That's in Kansas City. So those are some really popular, we call this the Midwest, some really popular places that we've traveled. So go ahead and pull out your packets.
We already have our packets.
It's on a map. So this is your first page in your packets. I'm going to have you guys skip this page for now. And we're going to hop to page 3. What page?
Page 3.
So go ahead and get there. And I'm going to to zoom into Nebraska on page 3. Now, it is important that you're on page 3. We have lots of pages that look the same in here. Oh, that's weird. It's sideways. There we go. We'll try that.
Why is it sideways?
That's not sideways for you? Okay. Weird. It looks weird for me on the iPad. Zooming into Nebraska, remember we said that we are in the southeast corner. Gunnar was totally right. So let's go ahead and mark where we are. And I want you to find that line where Iowa and Missouri meet. And it's like right in the corner of our state. Slide in just a hair and put a dot for, we're going to go ahead and put Waverly. Those of you who are at Eagle, those of you who are in Ceresco, Greenwood, anywhere in between, we're still all going to label Waverly because we're going to be referring to Waverly for finding how far we are from other places. So Waverly starts with a capital W because it is a proper noun. It's the name of the location. Capital W, Avery. So we're all labeling Waverly on our map on page 3. And make sure that you do put a dot there because we are going to be using that dot to help us measure how far we are from other locations. Good. We're on page 3. We have Waverly. Now, the next thing that I'm about to give you is a map ruler. What is it called?
A map ruler.
This thing, which you guys have at home too, looks like this. The map ruler is used to scale to show us how many miles we are away from something. So something to note on our map rulers, and I'm going to go ahead and project it so you guys can see it too. Map rulers start at 0 miles, and this one can go all the way to 3,000 miles, but you have to be careful. When we start measuring, you have to make sure that you line it up with this 0 line and not the edge of your ruler. That's going to be a big thing that's tricky with these. Landon. We've got to make sure we're measuring from this line because otherwise we're getting some extra miles in there and we're not counting them. So I'm going to be doing that activity with you tomorrow. So here's what you need. Thing 1,
Thing 1.
your packet.
Your packet.
Thing 2,
Thing 2.
your map ruler.
Your map.
These map rulers are going to need to be kept in a safe place with your packets in your folders. Capiche? Same thing goes for you guys. We are going to be using them tomorrow and throughout this unit. So make sure that they're kept in a safe spot. You guys can pull out your folders so that we're ready to put them away. And we'll see you next time.